Join UnitedWeStrike.com radio on the second Saturday of every month for our live international radio marathon. Don't buy, don't comply, ask why.
Yes, hi, this is Detlev of Wake News Radio, Wake News TV here in our UNITEDWESTRIKE Radio-Marathon. Today is 9th of July 2016. Yes, and we usually do start our UNITEDWESTRIKE Radio-Marathon here in Europe, out of Switzerland. Yes, and we will be having great hosts and guests today from the US as well as other areas. And I will be hosting here a guest which you may know already from our last UNITEDWESTRIKE Radio Marathons. It's Michael. Michael is a moderator, a host here from Wake News Radio, Wake News TV. He has his own show, and he will be discussing with me some of the current issues. And today's topic is NWO PSYOP. Yes, you can visit our website, UNITEDWESTRIKE.com. You find all the different informations, and later on also the archives, the podcasts of our relevant shows. Yeah, and not everybody may be familiar with the expression PSYOP, but PSYOP is a synonym for psychological operations. And we are all living in a world which is artificially constructed. This world is on Earth, and we call this Matrix, as a matter of fact, also. And we are being held captive by those who control the world. And unfortunately, most people in this world are not yet aware of the fact that we are being lied to, that our world is not what they like us to believe. Eventually, there have never been any dinosaurs living on Earth. I can't prove it. Though. Neither has anyone yet been on the moon or Mars or wherever. Who knows? Maybe even Earth is not a planetary body as they like us to present it. I cannot give you the answers. Certainly, the way we are forced to live currently on Earth has nothing to do what we are supposed to live as free beings on Earth, embedded in a fantastic nature, close to God and creation, living as living should really be. Yeah, just don't believe in this crazy matrix world, which is a PSYOP created by a few to enslave us and to profit from us, and living from our energies. Yeah, and today I shall discuss all those issues with my guest Michael. Just to clarify the psychological operations, you learn it is a military expression. Those are planned operations to convey selected information and indicators to audiences to influence their emotions, motives, and objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of governments, organizations, groups, and individuals, also people. Yes, and this can be easily found by searching the internet, search engines, wherever you like. This one here I took from wikipedia.org. Well, anyways, we all know we are living in the artificial construction, which is called the Matrix, as we like to call it. And we always try to wake up or help waking up people so they can see through the veil, so they can get some reality starting in their heads. So we hope we will be successful, because there's a great awakening taking place currently. And we offer information here with our UNITEDWESTRIKE.com website and also our United We Strike Radio-Marathon. And our slogan is familiar with everyone. Don't buy, don't comply, ask why. So basically question everything and behave in a way that you are able to get back to the origin. Yeah, let's see. Let's have a look whether Michael is already on the other side on the phone. Michael, are you there?
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Michael. Very great you could make it today. We have fantastic weather outside. It's very much summer today, though they are spraying all the time, some chemtrails, but nevertheless, it's a beautiful day today. Yeah, Michael, now you have been present at the latest United We Strike radio marathons, and you have contributed already quite a bit from all of your knowledge and all your research which you are doing. And I asked you today also to give your opinion on what is happening today, especially the current issues which are so obviously false, like this Texas shooting. I mean, the cop shooting, which has quickly been identified as a false flag operation, as a PSYOP, as I quickly summarized. Why are they doing this? Why are they trying to play us a theater or play us a movie which is actually not real? What is the idea behind this, and why are they doing this? Is this really the only way to keep them alive, to keep them at the power level? What do you think?
Well, actually, yeah, that's correct. I mean, everything is about power and manipulation, and about plundering the people and profiting from the fruits of their labor. Basically, it's just a power. They want to keep their power. That's all. They want to keep their domination over the population, and they do it through all kinds of trickeries and false games and lie. And in the German program last week, we were talking about the political phrase and imperialism, and that is nothing more than the carried out program of imperialism, what they do. It's quite logic. They did it in the olden times, the Herodians, as you might call them, or that old corrupt elite did it since thousands of years. It's a game of manipulation, of keeping the people stupid, and if they're not stupid enough, to make them stupid, and to manipulate them, to abuse them, to do all kinds of treacherous things. So, because the highest goal for them is they want to keep the power, and they at all cost, and I mean really at all cost, they're obsessed with this idea of living in luxury and abusing the people for their benefits. That's all. Basically, it's simply said in these words. There is nothing more to it.
Yeah, so it is correct that it is only a few entities. There are only a few entities who are controlling us or who want to keep the power. And they are using any force, any available tool of the imperialism, which you've been talking about. And they kill for their well-being. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but what is missing in today's is a spiritual connection with all this. Why does it happen? What is the background? Why do they all do this? Is there a hidden agenda behind the hidden agenda? When you look from a materialistic level, of course, it's clear what we say. But behind, there is also a spiritual agenda, which most of the people don't know. Very few people today know these facts, which are, these facts are known maybe to some higher elite of the occult societies, of the secret societies, and definitely of the so-called Illuminati, which I rather call tenebristi, because from tenebre, dark, Latin word for dark, that suits that is a better definition for what they're doing.
So dark powers, you could also say.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
correct. And like I mentioned last week in that German transmission, is that in today's world, people think, oh, they're so knowledgeable, they know a lot, and they're scientists, they know the whole, they can explain the whole world, but that is all bullshit. Nothing. What is that wisdom, what we have today? That is only a wisdom of death. We can analyze death. That is what we learned. That is nothing more to it. And when you look back in further parts of evolution of mankind, people, all kind of people of different times and their consciousness will despise, I literally have to underline, despise this epoch, because it is so disgusting and so arrogant, and arrogance built out of no grounds, because people are completely ignorant about the real facts, especially to the spiritual facts. So one really has to tell the people that today they know nothing, and that be kept in complete ignorance. And when people don't know the fact that when they go to sleep, the whole self-knowledge, what is mankind, they don't even know. They believe, okay, now their consciousness, they cannot even analyze their own consciousness. There is sleep, there is wake consciousness. There is the thinking, there is the feeling and the willing. But they don't know that at nighttime they leave their body or parts of their astral. They don't even know that they're composed out of anything else besides their physical body. They don't know.
Which is mainly water. Which is mainly water, by the way, isn't it?
Yeah, water and also solid substance like the bones.
Yeah.
But anyhow, they don't know anything about their astral body, about their ether body, about their I, their higher selves. They don't know that they're a composer of all these forces. They're completely ignorant about it. And these spiritual occult societies, they know about it. They use it. And the forces behind, they also use it. Because Ahriman, which is the top god, so to speak, for them, that is actually, it's satanic. It is basically what in Bible is being described as a Satan. He says of himself, I'm the spiritual force that is, well, it's difficult to translate now. I'm the spiritual force that is working out of the hidden. I disregard the spiritual world, but yet I use it as a coverage to use for my actions. So he denies the spiritual world. He's full of denial, but yet he has a perfect disguise, a perfect guise to work from those grounds. And he can say, I'm not existent, like nobody. Say, for instance, you call one evil being nobody. And then you saw in the news, nobody killed so and so many people. Nobody plundered so and so many people. And nobody did this evil and that evil. So it's clear. He has a very good guise for his deeds. And the whole secret societies are working on these objectives,
And we are experiencing in our daily living that if we turn to those responsible in governments and so forth and ask questions, especially those questions which reveal the truth that we are being ignored. So we don't get any answer, because if they would answer, they would either reveal the truth or reveal the evil. So, and, so they are ignoring more and more people questioning the system. And that brings up a lot of consciousness with all those people questioning. And this helps us possibly in gathering more support for, searching for the truth. What is your experience?
Well, I mean, this whole, what you call matrix, it is nothing but a big danse macabre in French, a big, a big play, a big game, a big
theater, basically, isn't it?
Right. And even Steiner mentions in a lecture that he held 1908 that when, for instance, when you lie, that you help to create phantoms, ghosts, and spectrums. These are words from the occult that describe certain left behind beings that are coming into existence through human negative behavior, through lying and through not telling the truth. And the phrase in the political system, they can lie as basically 98% what they're saying and doing are lies. So of course it has, because it has an impact. It has a spiritual impact that is nothing that you could today in the physical world. You think you can get away with all these things, but no. In reality, it has a spiritual impact. It is changing something, and it is not visible. But these beings are there, and they're intercepting the normal spiritual connection or the intercourse with the spiritual beings. So these higher divine spiritual beings, where you go at night, when you leave with your astral body and your eye, you meet these spiritual beings, and they're intercepting this connection. So all these spectrums, these lies, and these phantoms, Steiner calls them phantoms, which are being created. They cause, so to say, a spiritual fog that you're not able to make contact with these higher spiritual beings. So it is like a layer in between. So that is what they want. They want to abduct more and more the human creation and the human spirit, the human consciousness for their goal. And in early times, I mentioned already to people that they want to create the eighth sphere. They don't want human freedom and human liberty. And they don't want that human beings are partaking in the genuine cause of evolution, the God-meant cause of evolution, spiritual evolution that should take place. As we all know, we are not finished human beings. We are in the make, So...
but unfortunately, I mean, everybody who is not sort of awoken or who is ignorant to the fact are helping these entities or this entity, Satan, to finish his work or their work. And that's why it is so important to try to wake up as many as possible. Is that also your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, there is active sins, so to speak, and the Christianity talk about two kinds of sins. There is the active sins and passive sins. That mean you can, by an active evil deed, you create bad karma, and also by inertia of not doing anything. So that is the passive. They call it the passive sins, and these things. It is clear that the state of our consciousness, or why is the world the way it is, the fact actually that these evil beings have the power over us is the fact that we have been not doing our homework. So it's basically our own fault. Why do they have these forces that power? Because we give it to them through either doing some negative deed or in not doing the right thing at the right time. So sometimes I can tell the people, well, why is it like this? And why is that? Yeah, because you are also part of it. Because you were not doing your homework. You're not doing your share. Spiritually speaking, philosophically speaking, to get yourself acquainted with these things, to do your own research, to do meditation. These things also, they help to get closer with the spiritual, with God, basically, with the spiritual world and all the positive beings which are there. So sometimes I say, well, people don't complain. Why you're complaining? Everything can only happen because of a balance of all these good and negative vectors of forces which are at work. I don't want to sound like I'm a fatalist, but I want to really tell the people that they have to partake and to work with this whole development. It's not on autopilot. And all these Christian evangelic kind of churches, they say, "Oh, only praise the Lord and Jesus Christ," and put on the autopilot, and everything works out fine. That is not the case. That is just very good guise where these negative beings feel very comfortable in going after their hidden business, So if everybody that is not participating is in a way against the spiritual world and the godly worlds.
So it is not enough to just wait for somebody to solve your issues and problems. It is to become active yourself. So you have to be the change yourself, and you start with yourselves.
Yeah, you have to participate. You have to also do. Of course, you need they say, through the Lord of Jesus Christ and His sins. That is not an autopilot program, and the thing is that we have to partake. We have to stretch our hands. They're not going to come like evil beings. They come from behind and attack us. And they do all kind of trickery business to do that. And they're somewhat successful in many ways. But in order to get in touch with the spiritual beings, that has to be an act of free will. And you have to stretch out your hands. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. Because these spiritual beings want to know, are you willing to participate? Are you wanting to be part of us? Then you must give us a sign. You must tell us, I'm ready. You must open your heart. Okay, I want to participate. I want to do something. I'm not happy with the situation we have today, where we're nothing but slaves and abducted slaves. On top of it, we are not only slaves doing physical labor, we are slaves in many ways. We are slaves in our whole concept of life. Yeah. Who tells that you have to go 8 or 10 hours for work and basically stolen lifetime for these scumbags that are abusing and making us slaves and plundering us and devouring our energies.
Yeah, and one of the issues, materially seen, is why do you pay taxes? It's because, they will try to get this from you with force, sure. But, if everybody would decide not to follow the rules, don't buy, don't comply, ask why, as we say this in our UNITEDWESTRIKE slogan, then many things would come to an end, or many things would be ready for change. And I think that is something which I'm talking about in my radio shows as well, is that if we all would be awake, and if we would all identify issues which you've described, then they wouldn't have any chance to do any harm anymore. Is that what you believe?
Exactly. You don't have to use the credit cards. We shouldn't use the credit cards. We shouldn't watch television, and that is clear. Anybody that has common sense reaches that kind of conclusion. So we should find even a new mode of living together in its social structures. We have to completely step out. Really step out radically out of this today's system. Otherwise, we're lost. We have to create new communities like they did in the Middle Ages, new townships of people that have common spiritual ideas and goals. And the whole living has to be organized in a completely different and in a spiritual way. This system is grabbing, abducting us in a way which is no longer tolerable. And I think more and more people wake up to this fact. And we have to create new oases of culturally speaking. We are not only there. This current system says only our physical grounds to live, they're organizing. Food, eating, and accommodation. Only physical needs. They look to organize the physical needs, but we don't
but in a bad manner, because the quality of food and the poisoning which is taking place actually adds harm to our living, right?
Yeah, that's only a detail of evil. But
Yeah.
the real evil is the fact that that it is really our spiritual life, our the spiritual life that we should have, the freedom of the spiritual life, the brotherlyhood that we should live. These are concepts that in these new communities should be part of the structures and part of the set new living, the setup of the new living in these communities. And only we do what animals doing in a more sophisticated way, in a bad way, you say, sophisticated, very nicely organized, but even animals, they collect the seeds and things and they do that, but they don't have the intelligence, what we have, and we don't make use of it to create a cultural life, a living cultural scene of life where we have the music, the art, the artistry that human being can make this world a beautiful planet. And these are the reasons worth living, not because you can organize and distribute the food. Animals can do that much better.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's a sort of a bankruptcy what we're living. It's that's why I say old civilizations and future civilization, they will later look down on this period of time, because look at these beggars in spirit. They only managed, and that in a bad way, distribution of food and providing for physical needs.
True.
That
True.
is
Yeah, we just had an information here recently. A billionaire, a German billionaire from Bavaria, he wrote a letter to Angela Merkel announcing to refuse payment of taxes, because he's absolutely disappointed of politics, and he's against the warmongering and all the other issues which are taking place. Well, you could ask yourself, why didn't the billionaire know before? Maybe he's sort of not in the club, or he has tried to get out of it, and now identifies that if we continue doing so, that our world will come to an end. And I mean, this is a good sign, obviously, but still, still, what can we do? I mean, this is not enough if just one billionaire wakes up, but it is a good start, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. And it's very difficult for these people, because they're all surrounded by this similar kind of group soul people that, they foster and these wrong beliefs, and they celebrate these wrong beliefs. So it's very difficult for such people to step out of it. It's almost like stepping out of a secret occult society. And when you have certain kind of obligations, direct or indirect obligations that you vowed to pay tribute to, it's very difficult to step out. So it's quite courageous for that fellow to step out and take an open opposition. I mean, I congratulate this fellow. Better now than never. That's all I can say.
Oh, absolutely. Many people in the United States believe that someone like the billionaire Trump could be someone who could lead them out of misery. But I'm afraid he's not the chap who will solve the issues, because he's part of the problem, most probably.
I would be very kind of careful to announce him as the deliverer of freedom, or the new Messiah into a free and a free world, so to speak, and a spiritual world. Definitely not. I mean, what I heard that he is propagating tortures of terrorism, and I think a good spiritual being, he doesn't like to torture anything or anybody, because he's then, by doing so, helping the evil empire, so to speak.
Yeah.
If you have these kind of instruments in your vocabulary, you cannot be good. I never heard about Jesus saying you should torture somebody.
Yeah,
Not my
absolutely.
knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all know he's part of the game. I mean, even if some of the alternative media is propagating him, and they say, well, it's the lesser of the evil. But this is always the same story, isn't it? I mean, we've been promised so many things. Have a look at Obama, for instance. He promised us change, and what we got is the change for worse. Even not only in the US, but worldwide. I mean, what has
Well,
he done?
he's part of the establishment, and maybe he's, as you said, the lesser evil. But definitely, these occult societies will try to get a hold of him, and I think they will succeed to get a hold of him, like they did with Obama. That is clear. And
Yeah, and then
maybe even
Hillary Clinton is the same game, because she's not even being prosecuted for what she's obviously doing wrong or done wrong by the FBI. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, how can people now in the US believe their government anymore? I mean, it's a farce. It's a phrase, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if you believe these structures in government and in law and order, these kind of things, you're a lost soul, because you know that you're being misled. You should know that you're being misled. All these, where would you hide if you're a negative force? Who you would like to infiltrate? First of all, the church, and later the government. It's clear. It's even the logical thinking will put you to that thought. I mean, if I were a demonic force, if I would try to infiltrate these forces right away, first place, and so that's the whole story. When you look at it, governments are being made an instrument for the negative occult elites to rule, to gather information, and to subdue the masses of the people. They're not there to educate them, to give them a cultural life, to foster their higher development. No. They're there to do the opposite. And anybody with clear eyesight can see that.
Yeah, and especially the so-called PSYOP, the psychological operation, which is also a military expression. It shows clearly that they're using those tactics and strategies and operations in order to fight against foreign people or foreign humans, if you want to. And they consider their own population as being the foe, as being the enemy, right?
Well, I mean, it's clear all these secret societies and these secret services are a department of Satan, so to speak. I mean, that is also everybody that has clear eyesight that should see that. They're sort of like the physical manifestation of Satan, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean,
so there's nothing.
I remember you talked about this in your last show, where you said basically all military forces or police and what have you is basically a structure in order to suppress us as humans and to force us into slavery. Is that correct?
Correct. Because they work with means. I mean, if you respect a human being, you respect their free will. That is the basic ABC. Also the ABC of the conduct of good spiritual beings. They respect your free will. They don't manipulate you. They don't force you. They don't torture you. They want active contribution. You love what you're doing because you have the insight and the clarity that you want to serve the good cause. And that is a vow or a sort of a quest you have to give to the spiritual world. And it has to be an act of free will. They don't force you to it.
Yeah.
And you can easily recognize that when you look in those military structures, the first thing they do, they break their own free will.
Yeah.
They want to make you an instrument that they can use. So your human faculties, they are of no interest to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They want to make you a tool that doesn't ask questions, that follows orders, and that is being cold in their soul life, in their feelings. You should not have any feelings, because if you think, well, should I do this order now? I was ordered to do this and doesn't feel well. No. So they have to kill the healthy feelings and the healthy thinking of human beings so they can make them as an instrument, otherwise they won't work. I mean, people would easily say, no, I'm not doing this. But the military would collapse if everybody would think, oh, well, this is a bad order, an evil order. I'm not doing this.
Absolutely. And we should also maybe talk about this more clearly also in our German broadcasts and so forth, that there is no good cop and bad cop. There are just cops or military or whatever sort of militarized people there are. And they are Satan's army. It doesn't matter whether it is somebody who does not use force primarily, but basically they're working for the same system. They're working for the same organization. Therefore, it's them, right?
Yeah. And another thing I think which is important, people have to strive for the truth. And they have to have a real kind of an inner how shall I say, an inner dynamic to get to know what is the truth and to really live in the world of love and to have a very active feeling life in a positive sense. We're being trained to, our feeling life has been numbed down and to become passive through all kinds of distractions like television and sports and these kind of things. I mean, they play games with our feeling lives. When you look about the people now in Europe, they have this European soccer, competition. And I observed people there. I mean, it's ridiculed that they're not human beings. They're some of automats that react. I feel very pity for them. I mean, it's
absolutely,
really,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous the way they react. They don't have their own thinking, their own feeling. Simply they're being used like in the old Roman times where panem et circenses, that means games and, panem, bread and games.
Bread and games, yeah. That's absolutely true. And you should never forget those soccer players are millionaires. So millionaires are playing against each other, guided by billionaires. And used by trillionaires, because those are behind the curtains, working directly for Satan. I mean, this is so obviously rigged also, because, who will win? Obviously, France. Because in France, there is the greatest turmoil in Europe currently, as you've been laying out the last time. I mean, do you have any new information about France and what the people are doing there?
Yeah, I will tell you, but I wanted to say something, which also something in what we said before. I mean, they mock on us, They mock, they ridicule us in a way. They laugh at us, that we are so stupid, that the mass of people are so stupid, and they play their games. They amuse themselves how stupid we are. That is another thing with what I have to say.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But France, I mean, when I think about the situation in France, there is a two-folded kind of development. Of course, you also said, and it is clear that the labor unions are part of the system. So the labor unions are saying to the people they should strike. But the second movement that happens in France is that the youngsters are getting together and questioning basic kind of standards of their political system, of an elite, of a representative democracy, which is basically a democracy. It is not a democracy, because like in Switzerland, you have the possibility, at least from the system, even though people are too stupid to make proper use of it, but still, even though in Switzerland you have the chance to do referendums, and so people can say, if they don't comply, if they don't like something, they can say, no, we collect signatures, 100,000 signatures, and we are against this, and the parliament has then accordingly has to decide what the people say. That's the basic classic referendum. Or even they can make proposals what law they would like. They do signatures, 100,000 signatures they collect, then they give it to the parliament, and the parliament has to make it a law, later. If that whole referendum went positive in that respect.
Yeah, but still they have the option to postpone and to put in, difficulties. And so they do not let everything happen as the so-called people would like it. And the other thing is, you can rig any sort of election.
That is correct. They do that also, but it's still you're one step closer to how it should be.
Yes.
But when you don't have the chance at all, like in this so-called representative democracy, I mean, I get goose pimples when I hear it. Then there is no chance.
Yeah.
They ignore people. They shit on their heads and laugh at them. Ha ha. Who are you? You're just a bunch of peons. That's all there is to it. And people should know in their eyes, they're not worth anything. They're a bunch of stupid, ignorant peons.
Yes, so, and also the money system is in the hands of Satan, because he's actually fooling us with this money system, this fiat currency stuff. I mean, this is so obvious. I mean, I just don't understand why so little people are identifying this as this big fraud that it is.
Well, they're kept in a big somnambulous bubble. And that bubble is constantly being fed with information, and it's like a hypnosis by the mass media, by the governmental structures, by the schools. People are being fed all this stupid knowledge in schools. They're being manipulated even there. So it is clear that people have a difficult time in waking up. It needs own initiative, otherwise you don't move. If you don't use your willpower, you won't move. You always lie on the sofa like a couch potato. That won't revolutionize the earth and the world.
True, and unfortunately, this impulse to change or to wake up always comes off a difficult personal situation. So you need to suffer first before you are able to identify that something is wrong also in your world, right?
Exactly. And the way, when you look in today's world of the architecture, even in that way, they manipulate the people on such a refined level, that, for instance, you envision yourself to go, say, the city of Florence or the city of Rome or the other beautiful architecture. When you go there, still you have an idea of what the arts of the past times, with all the aesthetic kind of structures that you see, with harmonious laws, with the laws of mathematics and geometry. Yeah. Now you go in a street of Chicago with Vaughn's or even Los Angeles with their old shopping centers. That is the only thing they produce in today's architecture is shopping centers. Only functionalism. It is only 80, 90 degree angle, square buildings, nothing more, like big garages or big bunkers.
Absolutely, yeah. Or industrial buildings, I mean.
Yeah.
Factories.
And look what impact they have. They make your aesthetic impulses die. That is their intention. They want to make your whole soul that has aesthetical hunger, it dies, and that's program.
Yeah, it's a concrete world, a concrete materialistic world.
And when people are
it's
not
a
being
shame.
nourished, when people are not being nourished with all these impulses of the arts, of the art world, and of the spiritual world, with philosophical thoughts, which should be taught in school, and all these social things would be taught in school. So I remember me being a child, going to various schools in different countries, and I saw I was never taught the essentials.
Yeah.
And it made me sad. And then of course, I found out there is a reason for it. And from then on, I thought I have to, do something against it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is, we discover ourselves. We start discovering ourselves. And that is a great experience as well. I mean, once you are down to earth, I mean, once you get down to the basics again, once you become conscious, this is the best experience in your world, in your life. Isn't it?
Yeah, that is correct. But, people have to wake up and see how ambidextrous these negative forces are, and their elites. They're very much, I call it the Academy of Evil and the infrastructure of evil. And that infrastructure and the Academy of Evil, which is part of the science, they do all kind of cruel experiments and cruel kind of agendas that some of the scientists have. They surround us like a spider net,
Yeah.
And one has to break through that spider net. One has to take a hand and rip it apart. And then only one starts to become a free human being. Before you're trapped in that spider net. That spider net you have to really stop.
And it is very important to learn that you should not be afraid. Fright or fear is always, standing between you and freedom. And I guess if we learn to cope with our fears, then we are able to conquer back our lives without even touching a gun or without using any force at all. If we all would decide at the same time to end this tyranny, it would be dissolved. It would be away. That's my feeling. But this is obviously still a dream. This is not taking place yet, but we are in the progress. I mean, there are lots of people waking up. There are lots of people who are identifying evil, and we try to gather all those minds, all those souls together. But they will eventually find to each other anyways. So that's part of our task to help developing.
Yeah, I mean, we should also not give too much attention to the system, but we should simply step out and do our own life program, our own life ideas, and our life ideals. We should follow those ideals, and as I said, one has to really like-minded people that understand what they have to do. Then they should form new kind of societies and new form of living oases and social structures where these new life forms can be lived, basically.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And from there you can make really a change. You don't have the money. You don't want money. Actually, you have other means of helping each other. You don't need that, because money is also a very big means to divide and conquer. That is money. That is an instrument for that. Then you think you're worth more than the other because you own more. You have a better kind of, you have more physical assets, then you're worth more than the other one. So that is completely in ignorance. It's hallucination. And we have to break out of that hallucination, which is being programmed on us. And I say even programmed because, it's very difficult to see that, to wake up. It needs that own initiative.
Yeah.
And that is lacking, with a lot of couch potatoes, we have to wake up. That is our goal.
Yeah, well, we're coming to an end of the today's show here. We've got about 5 minutes left. Maybe you can give us a wrap up of your information on what is happening in Europe, especially France again, for audience.
Well, in France, especially, then you have these demonstrations that are going on, young people meeting together, they're discussing in sort of like forums in meetings of how a new society should be based upon. And that, of course, the government doesn't like it because they want us to take the system as it is and don't question it. But these youngsters are sitting there and discussing new forms of life and social, we've just been talking the whole last hour. They're discussing it. And of course, there's a lot of, how shall I say, it's a whole bunch of interesting possibilities that they discuss. Some are not so good, some are better. But at least the fact that they sit together, that is already something very much encouraging. And one should really join these people and try to little bit help them on the path that they should really see that there is no future for the mankind if they don't make the spiritual connection. If they don't understand spirituality, then these Ahrimanic forces would be winning, and that's what we don't want, because we don't want to be as eternal slaves bound to one death planet where we are strapped out of our innermost and precious faculties.
Well, yeah, so, very true. So it basically gives us the confirmation that this waking up, this resistance towards the satanic world order is taking place all over the world. So it's not only in the US, it's also in Europe, and it's in other parts of the world. So people are resisting, trying to stand up against tyranny and try to find their own lifestyle, their own humanity, and as you said, building new societies which can live without the system as such. Yeah, Michael, you do have a German show every last week of a month, Tuesdays. You do have your own show right before mine. So if anybody listening is interested in watching your show or listening to your show, your next show will be in August. August. Most probably. But we are not sure yet whether we will be having a pause in August, so we will not promise any dates at the moment. So just try to stay tuned for us and have a look at our website, wakenews.net, where we'll always announce any shows on the title page. Yes, and you also are working on a book which will be available sometime, not only in German, but also in English, we hope. Is that correct?
Yeah, and also other European languages such as French, Italian, and Spanish. That will be, but I'm still in the middle of the work. I haven't finished it and completed it because I have to constantly make updates and,
Okay, we are waiting for it, and once you are ready to launch, we will be announcing this also in our UNITEDWESTRIKE Radio-Marathon. So thank you very much. We are at the end of our show, and if you like to contact us, you please send a message also to Michael if you wish, radio@wakenews.net, and he will be getting the information. So we do thank a lot our audience and everybody participating in our initiative, United We Strike. Please share the information, spread the information, and don't buy, don't comply, ask why. And we are now listening to our last tune here from our out of the German-speaking area transmission. Before we hand over to our colleague Matt Navarro in the US, we will be listening to Neil Fox's F.K. The Fed, censored version, obviously. So please stay tuned. We will have a great show coming up. Thank you very much, Michael.
Sure, anytime.
And see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to UnitedWeStrike.com radio. Don't buy, don't comply. Ask why. UnitedWeStrike.com radio.
Precisely why we have to say, the Fed. Now, not too long ago, there was a president who tried. He was about to stick it to the lousy Fed. He made some legal tender, silver-backed in all its splendor. It's unfortunate he ended up dead. Clinton, Bush, Barack Obama, Carter, Reagan, and McCain. We argue who's the best until we drop. But whoever is elected, it all comes out the same till we see that it's the Fed we need to stop. Hey, 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 hey. The Fed. Hey, 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 hey. The Fed. We need a president with balls, no matter white or black or female. Someone more than just another talking head. They have to stand up for our rights. They better read the Constitution when they hear the people cry, F the Fed. So tell your children's children, if we're still around to tell, how depressions were created by a few. How the people lived and suffered while the candidates debated till the people knew exactly what